I'm Scott Meter, the manager of the Western Montana Fairgrounds.
I'm Jim Sadler, superintendent of the Floriculture Building.
And we're here today to give you a rundown of what we have at our 2003 Western Montana Fair. I'd like to start with our grandstand entertainment this year at the fairgrounds. Tuesday night we're going to have the Bullarama in town.
Oh, okay.
We'll have all those cowboys riding those ornery bulls in the arena. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're going to have the PRCA Rodeo in town.
What's that mean, PRCA?
Professional Rodeo Association.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have the best of the best right here in Missoula, Montana those 3 nights for everybody to come and enjoy in the grandstand.
Oh, yeah?
And then we're changing it up this year a little bit, Jim. We're going to do a classic rock concert Saturday night.
Oh, okay. I love rock.
Yeah, we've got Steppenwolf coming back.
It's my era.
So we're going to have fun Saturday night with Steppenwolf. And then Sunday, of course, we finish it off with the Demolition Derby.
Okay.
We should have 45 cars there this year. I believe it's a field of 45, and smash and bash them up on Sunday.
Okay, great. And we have lots of exhibits and things at the fair. We have the 4-H and the FFA with their cattle, all their exhibits. And we have the crafters and the quilters and the photographers. They all have their wonderful displays there, and painters. And of course, we have at the Floriculture Building, we put on 4 shows this year.
Exactly.
We have a standard show, where you have all the regular flowers that come in. Then on Saturday, we have dahlias and an orchid show, which is new this year. And on Sunday, we have a rose show. So all should be quite exciting.
Oh, it's going to be busy out there this week, Jim. And we can't forget, we have all the food booths.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love the food booths.
Oh, me too.
You got to have those tater pigs.
Yeah. And Sons of Norway. We also have the commercial booths. We have the historic commercial building is full this year, upstairs and downstairs of commercial exhibits.
Right.
We have Mercantile Alley, which is full. We have the West Lot that is full. We have exciting things coming. We've got an F-16 fighter jet, a full-size fighter jet that's going to be at our fair this year. We have the wonderful carnival.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got to forget the carnival. And the theme of the fair this year is fair skies. Are you predicting fair skies?
I'm predicting fair skies. I hope the weathermen are predicting fair skies. You know, we need fair skies for those horses to run. And
for the flowers, because there's been years in which we've had hail 2 or 3 days before the fair, and we've lost everything.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to have a shredded pansy and then judge it, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
Just bring your stuff in no matter what condition, because it's just a matter of participation.
Exactly.
Because it's all about family, all about community participation.
Exactly.
That's what our fair is about.
Yep, this is one time a year that everybody can get together and come to the fairgrounds, and you get to see 6 days of live parimutuel racing. We've got the carnival, we've got the food, we've got the crafters, we've got the exhibits, floriculture. We just got everything happening that week, and it's August 5th to the 10th, that week down at the fairgrounds.
Right. We've been there for 120 years.
That's right, and we're still going strong.
Okay.
You can check us out on the webpage. It's www.westernmontanafair.com. We're online now.
Oh, good.
Or give us a call down at the office at 721-3247. You got anything else, Jim?
No, I think I just want to welcome everybody, and please come.
Yeah, come on out to the fair and have a great time. Thanks a lot.
We're going to discuss a little bit about what it takes to enter into the Western Montana Fair and what the judges are looking for. We're going to talk about canning first. And I have right here 2 jars of raspberry jam. Now, it doesn't matter what you're going to find on the directions of your packages of pectin or what Mother has done, what you've done in the past. There are certain rules that the judges are looking for, and that's what they like to see. This here is a no-no. And what it is a jar of jam that has been done in the inverted method. Now, you'll find in your pectin packages directions on doing the inverted method. The judges don't like that particular method. They don't feel it's safe. One of the ways that they can tell that that is what's happened is you'll see jam on the edges.
When you take the ring off, you'll see the jam.
Yes, or even before. Yeah.
And when you pop the top, you will see jam
on the lid. This is a sure fire proof that this was an inverted method. Which the inverted method is filling your jar with the hot jam, turning it upside down
Immediately,
on your counter, and like
Leaving-
that.
leaving it for 10 minutes, and then turning it back over, and then it will seal. But that seal isn't always complete.
As
And-
tight as it should be.
Right, and so you can grow bacteria and so forth in your jar.
Now this here jar of jam was done in the hot water bath. It also got jiggled in the car on the way here. But this was the hot water bath method, and this is the method that the judges like to see. Hot water bath for jams and jellies. Also stay away from some of the, what would you call them, these methods that go in and out of fashion very, very quickly, such as under the broiler in the oven. That is a no-no.
That's an oldie.
Yeah, that's an, or in your dishwasher. No, that's not the right way
The
to do it.
temperature won't get hot enough, and it's not consistent enough to produce a really good product, and you want your product to be really good.
So for the judges at Western Montana Fair, let's keep in mind hot water bath for jams and jellies. Another thing to keep in mind is to loosen your ring before you bring your item to the fair. I couldn't open this one. My husband couldn't open it. I'd hate to be embarrassed if you were able to open it, but oops.
But if the judge cannot open a jar, that jar may not get judged.
Yes, that's very true, because they have to be able to taste, and they don't want to be spending a lot of time trying desperately to open a jar. Another thing that the judges are going to be looking for is, of course, new lids. We know that. But they like to have new rings also if you're going to be leaving a ring on. I suggest with your jams and jellies that you do
Leave a ring, yeah.
leave a ring, because they will be opening it, they will be tasting it, and without the ring, it could get spilled on the shelves in the culinary department and leaves a mess, makes it difficult. So leave your ring on if it's for the items that you know are going to be tasted, and make certain that it is a new ring.
Appearance counts for a great deal when your judges, especially with a really popular jam, for instance, like raspberry or strawberry, where they may have 20 jars of jam, and 3 of them are excellent tasting. One of them's got an old ring or is a little rusty or maybe wasn't washed off. That one's going to get eliminated from the competition simply because someone else took more care to put out a presentable product.
Always bring your items to the fair washed, cleaned, in good condition. I can remember in the past one lady wanting to enter many, many items in the culinary, and she ran down to her basement or root cellar, wherever it was, grabbed 50 jars of items and brought them in. The judge lifted up one which was a very old jar, and it's just fine to use old jars, but it had an indentation in the bottom, which many of the old jars did, and when she lifted it, it had a spider web in there and a spider, which was pretty good sign she didn't take the time to clean her jars, and it may have been a very old item that she had brought in.
Your product needs to be recent.
Yes, it needs to be
recent.
within a 13-month period. In other words, from July of the year 2000 to August of the year 2001 is the proper time for all of your canning. You're canning at all different times of the year, but you do not have to worry about the items that have been canned the year before, a month before the fair. That's perfectly okay. There are some items, such as your cherries, that come out earlier. And so a 13-month period of time is what you have for bringing in your items. Also, when you're going into things such as your beets and your beans and your carrots, one of the things that the judges are looking for is consistency. Every slice sliced perfectly, lined up beautifully in the jar, and your liquid clear, not murky or cloudy looking. which could mean that it had been overprocessed, or perhaps that the vegetables or fruits were a little older when you canned them. So take care. I like to tell people, if you want to enter the fair, your canned items, when you're canning, do 1 jar for the fair. Put a tag on it that says
For the
fair.
fair.
That's right.
That's right.
Set it off to the side. Tell your family, don't touch. That is strictly for the fair. For every item that you're doing, do that one particularly for the fair. The rest of your canning, if you're in a hurry and you don't want to take the time to stack it all perfectly and have everything the same size, that's all right. That's perfectly okay. But for the fair, do it up a little special. But now when I say special, I don't mean fancy.
These are beautiful for gifts. It's a wonderful gift to give someone, but when you bring this to the fair, this has to get taken off, it has to get put back on, it gets sticky, it might get lost.
That's right.
And then it ends up looking less attractive than you want, or maybe if it does get lost, you're upset because, you know, you put a lot of effort and time into your doily or your little kerchief. And
Right.
the judges would really rather not see those.
And while we're at it, we have been discussing the methods for jams and jellies. This is another no-no. This one, the judges are very strict about, and that is paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is not considered appropriate for your jams and jellies for the fair. Judges do not consider it healthy and careful. You could get mold around the edges. It could, as you may see on this here particular jar, shrink away from the sides, leak out. Any number of things can happen to a jar of jam or jelly that has wax on top. Wax is not considered okay. I know it was fine for Grandma, but it's not okay for the Western Montana
And it's
Fair.
not necessarily cheaper, and it's not necessarily easier.
That's right.
So,
That's right. I can imagine very, very few things that are as easy as water bath.
right.
And so keep those 3 things in mind, that water bath is your only way for jams and jellies. Now, here is another thing that I wanted to mention. This is yours.
One of mine,
This was
yeah.
a gift that you gave me, and we haven't gotten around to eating it yet.
Yeah.
And aren't we glad today? It is a good idea to put on make certain that your name is not on your label. But if
Right.
you happen to have a label on your jar, it's a good idea, or on your entry blank, to put down how long it was processed, or if you happen to be doing such things as tomatoes, other items that have to be pressure cooked, your meats, your fish, put the poundage.
The method you used in which to can your product, whether you used a hot water bath or whether you pressure cooked it, those things are very important, especially when we're talking about non-acid foods. The judges will really want it to be pressure cooked.
These
and
are
they
all
want to
things-
know.
Yes,
They want to know the details of your processing.
this is all things that are important to them in the canning. Now, also, you know that there are premiums. You have your first, second, and your third place. You have your best of show. For those people who have won best of show awards for their canning, then the Kerr and Ball companies also, when they get your name and address, will be sending coupons for jars, canning jars, and lids and rings, to encourage you to continue to can for the fair and for your families. Also, and let us discuss jars. Canning jars are the only type of jars truly acceptable by the judges. Not mayonnaise, not oyster jars, not baby food jars, but canning jars. Now, you do not have to, of course, use the quart size. You can use any of the smaller sizes, whatever size you wish. We try to tell people, you know, to use the smaller sizes saves you money, this is not something you're going to be able to take back home and feed your family. It's been on the shelf at the fair for quite some time.
In heat.
And except for those items that are not opened, such as your vegetables and your fruits, that you would be able to take back home, but these items you're not going to want to feed your family again. And so we suggest that you use a small jar as you can, as you wish to save yourself some money and to provide your family with more of the product that you want. Well, Janelle, have we missed anything on the canning that you can think of?
Nope. I just, remind everyone that when you're doing jams and jellies, you want to make sure that you use the hot water bath method for your jams and jellies, and that if you have a label, even if you don't have a label, even if you just mark it on the top of your lid, your method of processing is really important. And cleanliness and neatness and, a pride in your product really goes a long way as far as the judges are concerned.
And that is the way it is in every department of the fair.
Right.
But in all the years that we worked in the fair, in the culinary department, we always felt it was especially important in the culinary department that in every department, every part of the culinary, that your product be clean and put together with care. Yes. From there, we're going to talk about the open class of the baking. Now, the important thing is to follow the rules. And in the beginning of every department of the fair, you're going to find the rules mentioned. For instance, when you come to cookies, it will say 3. It doesn't mean 4. You can't bribe the judge.
Nope.
It doesn't mean 5 or 6, I have had people come to me with a plate of 5 cookies and say, you pick out what you think are the 3 best. No, you pick out your own 3 best and you do your entries yourself.
Right.
I can tell you a story about agriculture. When I was in agriculture many years ago, a young man brought in a plate with 4 of the most beautiful garlics you can imagine. They were really lovely. And we were very, very busy at the time that he brought them in. Nobody noticed he had 4 on there. When the judge came to the plate, he refused to judge it. And I said, I'll take one home. We could very easily slip one off of there because they were beautiful, and I wanted this young man to get the blue ribbon that he deserved. And the judge says, no, we do not do their entries for them. And so he didn't judge it, but he wrote on the back, if you had had 3 on this plate instead of 4, you would have gotten best of show. So look those rules over. Watch them carefully. Read them carefully. What the judges are looking for in adults as well as children is uniformity, the same size, the same color. 1 burned cookie and 2 light-colored ones.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea, no. The same color, the same size. That's the first thing. If they end up with chocolate chip cookies, as they often do in, say, for instance, children's culinary, of 50 or more entries in chocolate chip cookies, the first thing they're going to do is eliminate the ones that are not uniform. And then when they have come to the ones that all look the way they should look, the same size, the same color, done all the way through, and not overdone, then they start judging from their first,
from
second,
taste,
their first, second, and third place. And
another important thing when it comes to cookies is that you don't use a plate this size for 3 little cookies.
that's true.
You wanna put them on a plate that's appropriate for what you're giving in, and you want to make sure that it's good and sturdy, that it's not really flimsy, because they don't always hold up well to the handling and to the moving around. And, you would hate to see cookies slip off the plate onto the floor.
500 paper plates for $1 is not the ones.
No, you really do want a good, sturdy paper. We have had them fall on the floor before.
Yes. And especially in the children's categories, because there are so many cookies. And they're crowded together, you need a good plate. Also, I have a piece of cellophane over this, but actually what is a good idea to use are the Ziploc bags. Bring it in on a sturdy plate with a Ziploc bag over it, a Ziploc bag that is accountable to the size of the plate, and that will work out well for you. Also, as we had stressed before, in looking over the rules, no two entries in a lot. Say, for instance, chocolate chip cookies, you decide to make a regular Toll House chocolate chip cookie and maybe one with big chunks. No, you find another category to put your big chunk chocolate chip cookie in.
Even by accident, if you should enter twice in one lot number in the baking department or even the canning department, you'll be disqualified, and neither one of your entries will be eligible for a ribbon. So it really isn't an advantage to do that.
Right. Let us talk a little bit about cakes and breads. Now, it says in the book that you may bring in a half. You don't have to cut it in half. I suggest that you do, because why waste it? Waste a cake. You're not going to be able to serve it to your family after the fair is over. And the judges are not going to take any points away for it being cut in half. In fact, they might be very pleased in noticing that it has been cut in half. The same goes for any of the breads that are come in a loaf. A half a loaf for your quick breads, your French breads, your white breads, whatever, is the proper way to do it. Also, it's the same for the pies. A lot of people, especially if they're doing berry pies, fruit pies, don't like to cut them because they know it's going to leak out and it maybe look unsightly. The judges are not going to care about that. If you want to bring your pie in whole, they're not going to take points away from you. But if your husband wants to gather half of that pie, you might as well leave it for him.
Right.
Because even if it does leak out into the pan, that's okay with the judges, and a half a pie is acceptable. A half a cake acceptable, a half a bread.
Right. Well, and if you refrigerate it real well before you cut it in half, or even put it in your freezer for a short time, you don't want it to freeze completely, but for a short time, that'll help keep it together so it doesn't spread out on your tin and your plate.
And of course, we do have in the culinary department refrigerators that keep these items throughout the fair for you. Yes. I also want to suggest, don't use your valuable cake plates, pie tins, whatever it is not going to help you in your points if you bring it in on a fancy plate. It is much better to use throwaway pans. This here is a piece of cardboard. A cardboard with just cellophane over the top will be perfectly acceptable. Anything along that line, it will be fine with the judges, and it would be much better for you. We have seen things happen to valuable items.
They can disappear.
Yes, during one particular very special contest that we have at the fair last year, a lady lost a crystal dish. It just walked out the door. And that can happen. Or it can end up on the floor, broken, slip through some worker's hands, or some child may pick it up and look at it and accidentally drop it. So try to use the throwaway items to bring your products in. That will work much, much better. There's a lot of wonderful categories in culinary that we would like you to consider entering, and one in particular is foods cooked with honey. I was going to bring a jar of Mitchell honey, and of course,
the Mitchell
had one of your little senior moments and forgot it. Yeah,
Mitchell Honey gives a jar of honey to all their Blue Ribbon winners, and there are other generous prizes from other organizations in the community for your different products. Your rye breads get a special prize.
From the Swedish club.
Right.
Yes, they get a money prize, a plaque.
Right.
For the best Swedish rye. This is a wonderful contest to enter, and last year a man won. Yeah. And you would be very surprised at some of the really fabulous things that some of the men can enter. We do have, of course, a men's only category. And we encourage men to enter the men's only category, but enter open class also.
You bet.
The men and the children have it lucky in that they legally, or ethically, whichever way you want to put it, can enter the same product in the fair twice. In other words, they can take a loaf of bread, divide it in half, enter half in men's only and half in open class. We women can't do that.
No.
So that gives you twice as much of a chance. It's really wonderful. The children can do the same. If they want to compete against the adult men and women, they can, and many of them do very well.
Yep.
We had a pie bake-off one year that a 12-year-old girl won over all the adult women in that contest. And it wasn't because she was very, very cute. She did a wonderful peach pie.
Yeah.
So we encourage the men to enter both the men's only and open class, and we have seen some wonderful things from the men. We had one of the things that I want to mention is this is Western Montana Fair. It's not Missoula County Fair, it's not Missoula City Fair, it's Western Montana Fair. Covers 7 counties, from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state on the western side. We had a gentleman from Ronan. He's passed away since, but for years would come down with a pickup load of food for the culinary department. Baked goods, canning.
Yeah, breads, canning, everything.
His name was Russell Starlin, and he entered right up until the last year that he was with us.
Right.
And enjoyed it very, very much. So, we want to encourage people from Kalispell, people from Missoula, from Drummond, over to Alberton and Superior. Every single area of this part of Western Montana to enter, and in any of the different departments, culinary, agriculture. I've seen hay come down from Kalispell and win blue ribbons. It is your fair. It's the fair of Western Montana, and we want you to enjoy it in every way that you can. I wanted you to notice, Janelle, that I have my chocolate Sunday shirt here.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah. For those of you who do not know what Chocolate Sunday is, Chocolate Sunday is a contest that we hold on Sunday, the last day of the fair. This was a contest that we started to encourage people to come to the fair on Sunday and enjoy some of the things that we have to offer on that particular day. Now, you do not have to fill out an entry blank to enter Chocolate Sunday. You just make anything made of chocolate.
Yep, you make what you want. It's made of chocolate, and you bring it in that Sunday, and we fill out a tag, and it's openly judged in that...
by the fair board.
The fair board comes, and they judge all of the exhibits.
And then we carry them out.
In front of an audience, and then we share all of our exhibits with the audience, and it is a great event. It's a lot of fun. It gets bigger and bigger every year, and there are some wonderful prizes from community supporters for this particular event. And
that's true.
It's a really wonderful thing to
One year
participate
we
in.
had 72 entries.
Yeah.
And it covers every category: cookies, cakes,
Candy,
pies, dessert,
cheesecake,
cheesecake,
souffle.
yes.
We had that.
we had a chocolate lasagna.
That's
one
right.
year.
That's right. Yeah.
Also drinks and ice creams. You'll find the categories listed in the book under Chocolate Sunday. You do have to pay to come to the fair on Sunday, but it is one of the best experiences that you will have. The crowd absolutely loves
They
it.
do. They stand in line and
They stand in line, and that line gets long,
Yeah, it
but
does.
there's a lot of chocolate there for them to sample. And we, working in the department, wear our
special shirt.
special chocolate shirts. What chocolate stain? It says on the front there. Yes.
Did you want to talk about decorating cakes?
Yes, and one of the things that I wanted to mention about decorated cakes is that it is best if you not use real cake. It's best for you to use some unedible item, such as styrofoam. Styrofoam works very, very well. Frost it exactly as you would frost a decorated cake. What you're being judged on is your decoration, and that's the only thing you're being judged on. You're not being judged on anything that has to do with the foundation underneath your frosting. And these styrofoam pieces come in all different sizes, as you can see, or square and oblong. All that
They're very inexpensive.
Vary. They
you
can
can-
be cut to any shape.
You can pick them up at the craft stores here in
Oh,
Missoula.
yes, there's several different craft stores where you
Uh-huh.
can, and they are quite reasonable. And you can take them home, wash the frosting off, and use them again the year after. One of the things that I want to stress, though, is that whatever you use for a foundation underneath your decorated cake, it must not show. The first year that I judged decorated cakes many years ago, there was a lady made a beautiful cake. She cut it into a fancy shape. I believe it was a carriage. She used real cake. She had raspberry filling between the layers. The raspberry filling seeped out. And I was ready to give her a blue ribbon. It was such a beautiful cake. And it was my first year in judging, and the superintendent of the building told me, no, that I could not do that because the filling had seeped out. That's another reason why it's good to use something like this instead of real cake.
That's right. Because no matter how hard you try, no matter how good a job you do, if it's a real cake with real filling, and
Things
it
can happen.
sits for days, which it normally wouldn't do,
One side can sink down.
it is inevitable with the heat and the moisture or the dryness, depending on the conditions, that it is going to alter. It's going to shift. It's going to, and it just won't be nearly as
As
attractive.
nice. There have been many times when I have seen beautifully decorated cakes where you could actually see the cake because the coats of frosting were not thick enough. So I want to tell you that with styrofoam, it does absorb moisture. It dries out your frosting on the outside. It's going to take more than one coat. If you put one coat on, the judge is going to see styrofoam, and that is going to take points off. So cover it with a coat of frosting, and then let it sit for an hour, and cover it with a second coat of frosting, so that the styrofoam doesn't show. And then decorate it in whatever method that you wish to decorate. That can be royal icing if you wish to do royal. That can be buttercream if that's what you wish, or the rolled fondant, which is so popular nowadays. The judges like to see more than one method of decorating. They like to see piping, string work, flowers, leaves, perhaps a little color flow, maybe some flowers made with gum paste, any of that sort of thing. So they're going to be looking for a variety of method, and they're going to be looking for the technique, the uniformity of your decoration, that sort of thing.
Imagination goes a long way.
Oh, yes, it certainly does. It certainly does. And we would like to see more decorated cakes come in. We know there's a lot of you out there who are doing this, and you know that there are two different categories, one for professional and one for amateur. And you will see in the book, it will tell you what letters to use on your entry blanks to designate whether or not you are professional. Professional merely means that you teach or that you make a substantial amount of your living by decorating cakes. If that is not the case, then you are amateur. And those are the two categories that you will enter. And then, of course, there are several different lots that you can enter from there. Well, Jamil, there is also the contests. And
Which contests were that?
well, we have our bake-offs.
That's right.
And we have our cook-offs.
That's right.
The chili cook-off, Build a Better Burger cook-off, what Mother would have made on Wednesday night, the mess hall cook-off.
Right.
There is, of course, the chocolate sundae. You have bake-offs where they take people who have won Best of Show or Blue Ribbons in pies, cakes, breads, and cookies from the year before, and have them come back again and enter the bake-off for really, truly wonderful prizes, money prizes and gift prizes.
And lots of demonstrations and lots of fun things. They do a lot of great things in the culinary building.
For those of you who have never been in the culinary building in the past, there is a stage with several stoves set up, a counter, a sound system, and we have bleachers. so that you can sit there, relax, and enjoy all the different activities that go on in the culinary department. I especially like the culinary department when it's raining outside. Then we get a combination of men, women, and children.
Yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of people sitting on those bleachers watching what's going on.
Right. Well, I hope that we have been informative, that we've helped you decide that you'd like to enter.
So we're really looking forward to seeing new people entering, and of course a lot of our older have been with us for many years, and the children who have started from little on up, we have had as young as 3 and 4 years old entering culinary, and so anyway,
Hope to see you there.
very soon.